Hey, everybody, welcome back to another podcast with Blockstar. Today we have the pleasure of getting with Adrenaline Token, taking a deep dive on their project. Today we have with us Kris Duffy. Kris, are you going to be the only one from the team joining us today?
Yes. Unfortunately, you have the pleasure of me today.
Hey, that's okay. Hopefully, this is going to be filled with a ton of information. I know a lot of you guys had some questions that you sent in to me. So let's just get right into it, Kris. If you just want to give us a little bit of rundown about your background and how you got into crypto, or even why you got into crypto, and then we'll get right into the project.
Yeah, why? That's a good one, isn't it? You should always ask yourself why you got into crypto. So, yeah, hi, nice to meet you all. My name's Kris. I live in England. I'm 44 years old, and I got into crypto about a year and a half ago. So, not as long as probably many of you that are listening to this. My very quick journey of crypto is probably a familiar story to most people, and that you've heard on other AMAs. Joined with no friends, as it were, and no real kind of forward information. Actually, lost a ton of money getting carried away by Twitter information of this token's just launched, low market cap, buy it now, and all this kind of stuff. And over the journey of the last kind of year and a half, I've kind of learned a ton of stuff, been extremely fortunate to bump into a bunch of good groups, people like the Blockstar group and other kind of communities who kind of shown me the ropes. And here I am, thankfully and gratefully on with the Blockstar team now talking about my token. This is not the first one I've launched. I've done a couple, but yeah. So it's a pleasure to be here and to introduce you to Adrenaline.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I just got a question. We try to keep it kind of lighthearted and laid back here. So do you still have those same friends that introduced you to crypto where you lost all your money right off the bat?
Yeah, well, do you know what? Some of them yes, and some of them no. You kind of, I consider myself a reasonable judge of character,
Sure.
and we'll go on to talk about how Adrenaline is an investment token. So but it's okay because I can talk about how I'm not necessarily the best investor out there because we have partnered with an investment company that actually do all the investing on our behalf. So I'll kind of get that little caveat in there now. Otherwise, someone's going to be asking the question. But I've been for 20 years, I've been working as a project and program manager for UK banks. So a lot of work with Barclays and Lloyds Banking Group, for those of you that have heard of those big banks in the UK. And most of my time is spent pulling teams together, producing program plans and project plans, kind of helping people get on schedule, launching new IT systems or launching new current accounts or credit cards. So my kind of background has always been kind of people and kind of bringing people together. And crypto has been crying out for it as much as David, and you'll know this as much as anyone, that for every great person there's a scammer out there. So I have been fortunate and I've come across some wonderful people, and that we've got 11 people on our team working behind the scenes on Adrenaline, and I'm really grateful that a lot of luck came together. Just a lot of those guys I've known for pretty much the same amount of time I've been in crypto. And in actual fact, there's a funny story, while we're keeping it lighthearted at the beginning, that one of the guys that's in my team, very dear friend of mine now, I actually met him because he was about to launch his own token. I met him in his Telegram group when he was about to start a project, and I hadn't launched my own project by that point, but I sort of was taking an interest in the whole subject, and I tried to offer him a bit of my kind of thoughts and advice for what it was worth. And we ended up kind of getting friendly. And at one point or the conversation came around, which is, well, where do you live? And he said, oh, I live in England. I said, oh, I live in England too. And then by the time we'd asked, kind of felt comfortable narrowing it down. Turned out we lived 1 mile away from each other in the same town in England.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and you think obviously it's a global business, isn't it? So it's incredible that happened. So we ended up meeting for a drink, and there we are. We now work together on the program, and so yeah, it can be a small world, but yeah. So thankfully, I've met some good people.
No, that's absolutely awesome. And yeah, everybody thinks of the crypto market as a whole, but really there's a lot of niche markets inside of the whole of crypto space. And it's amazing to hear stories like that where you find out the guy that's a mile down the road from you is also in crypto and looking to do different projects.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of jump right into Adrenaline Tokens. Tell us what Adrenaline Token is all about. I know you guys have some strategic partnerships and all that stuff as well, but give us the skinny just on the Adrenaline Token itself.
Yeah, okay, cool. So the Adrenaline token launched in April, so we're over 3 months old now. We've had the pump and dump bit where everyone's got really super excited, and now we're kind of in the steady state, waiting to, which we'll come on to later on, I'm sure, talk about what's coming up. The contract itself took a lot of engineering. We had it made from scratch. It's a reflections token. You'll all probably have been aware of reflections tokens. We are an Ethereum-based project, and we give out Ethereum reflections straight to your wallets. There's no claiming required. It was always a plan for us to develop a program and a company which had kind of three kind of interest areas of income. The short-term interest was the Ethereum reflection. So just by holding the token, then you will get Ethereum airdropped into your wallet. But of course, that's trade related. And of course, at the start of the program, there's lots of trade. So the Ethereum reflections were a really good instant kind of draw. And we have obviously a token taxation, and that token taxation goes to fill up an investment fund. So we have a current investment fund of currently 23 Ethereum, which we apply bot trading to. So we, the token partnered up with a real world investment company called Sandrock Capital Limited. They're a UK limited company. And if you go on our website, adrenalineshots.io, you'll see that all the KYC and all of the audit documentation for our company numbers, so that you can see that we're all legit and that we're all doxed and all the rest of those other good things. Now, Sandrock do various crypto trading, but they also do commodity and fiat trading and FTSE trade tracker and stuff. But they're a trading and training company. If you go to sandrock.uk, if anyone is interested, aside from Adrenaline, they've just launched a new set of videos where you can learn how to trade yourself, which is a new thing that they're doing, which is pretty cool. But Sandrock and Adrenaline are partnered together. So just to recap, that we had that kind of short-term interest for customers, which was the Ethereum reflections. We have then this investment fund, which we apply bot trading to, and at the end of every month, we provide dividends off to our holders. So based on the profits that the bot trading that the bots make, that we split that profit out to all the holders, which is the kind of monthly dividends. That's kind of your medium level interest. And then the long term interest, which is kind of where we're moving to now, is we're kind of moving away from the token, because the token's there. We're all familiar with tokens. It's a great contract that does reflections. It's very efficient and low gas and all those other good words. But the token's there. It's done. It gives Ethereum reflections. If you hold, then you'll get those reflections and you'll get the benefit of the dividends on the bot trading we do to our own internal fund. The next stage, the long-term future, is that we've now created a kind of like a private investment service. So if any of you are lucky and fortunate enough to have Swiss bank accounts, or private banking where you need $100,000 minimum or $250,000 minimum access to these kind of complex investment funds, in England, St James Place Bank and Credit Suisse and various other companies, then good for you. But the problem is the barrier for entry is really high, and that's why a lot of people say the rich get richer. So what we've done in Adrenaline is we've created a investment company which is completely separate from the token. You don't need to own the token to have it. But if, for example, David has got 2 Ethereum or half a Bitcoin, if we take either Ethereum or Bitcoin, then you're able to provide that to our fund, and we've got a whole kind of customer KYC process on the back end of it, and we will apply bot trading to your wealth with the idea that we will grow that Ethereum or we'll grow that Bitcoin.
Right.
So
So I don't want to stop you. There's just a whole lot to unpack there and everything. We'll kind of
yeah,
take
yeah,
it in
go on.
bits and pieces, and we'll keep
Yeah,
going.
you did say focusing. You did say token first, so it's all right. I'll stop there.
Right. So let's go kind of backtrack to the token itself. I think if anybody's been in the space for any period of time over the last year, everybody pretty much knows what a reflection token is. And as we all know, those tokens really require a lot of volume to be able to continue to pay out the reflection. I think we can all agree on that.
That's
Um,
right.
and I did see you mention that everybody's kind of past the pump and dump phase and everything, and it's staying relatively stable for the most part, right? So I know there's probably not a lot of volume coming into it. Do you guys have plans in the future besides just the bot trading, which I really want to get into because that's kind of a whole separate thing, to really kind of change the dynamic to give more utility to the token itself? Because I know you guys are giving out some of those funds in like grants and giveaways and stuff if somebody is trying to get out there and be active and live that active lifestyle, that you guys are funding some of those things that they need, like boots and all that stuff as well. So is there anything to really push the token up itself to create more volume so that you guys are collecting more fees or funds in, not only for reflections but to also continue to give those grants out?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and I'm gonna say no, which is a really weird answer, but there's a reason behind it. So it took a real mind shift for me, because if I kind of tell a story around this, because going back to what we were talking about before, David, where my background, started with everyone else, you're constantly looking for the 10x's, the 100x's, and it's a mind shift to move from that to a model where I'm asking people to move their money into a token which is going to have a constantly rising price floor, but it's going to be a long process. So on one hand, and the reason why I say rising price floor is because we've got multiple injections of company profit that go back into the token. So whilst you can join our private investment service without any involvement in the token, it's completely separate. Profits that we make from the bot trading, we take a commission on the profits we make. Now, some of that commission goes back into the token. So the project will be, from now on, because we just start taking our first customer this week into the investment service, or last week, the price floor is going to be constantly rising. So as far as I'm concerned, the token's there. It's mechanically working. And it will now continue. The price fall will now just increase. Now we're only at 380,000 K market cap right now, with only a 30K liquidity. Sorry, 30 ETH liquidity. So the market cap to liquidity ratio is really high. So it's a really volatile token. So it's easy to trade because the price can fluctuate quite highly, which is why our peak, I think we hit just over 2 million market cap. So the trade is there, and it will come back, because we've got we've got profits now that we're going to be generating from the fund. We've got profits we're going to be generating from customer funds, from customer ETH or Bitcoin that we're taking in. And so we have a long roadmap where we're going to be in the future working with Sandrock more to develop bots that we can sell, bots that we can lease. So there'll be other sort of income streams for Adrenaline. And we're also looking to partner with a couple of other FCA regulated companies to provide different types of investment services, because at the moment it's bot trading on ETH and bot trading on Bitcoin. But in the future, we will be expanding out to do different types of investment, and that will include bringing in FCA companies where we can take in fiat. So instead of needing to take David's ETH or David's Bitcoin, we can take David's dollars. Or my pound coins, or whatever country you're in. And that's going to be a big shift, because one of the things that we're trying to focus on is move from a kind of deep, dark DeFi type. And I'm not saying that just because the background's lit. This is but moving from the depths of DeFi. And our next approach, which we'll come on to, and how we're going to market the token, isn't going to be marketing with the traditional influencers and callers, but we've got a press release ready, and we're going to be going out to market to proper publications to attract people who probably don't actually have any interest in buying our token, because you have to go on Uniswap. But there are a huge number of people that have stores and stores of Bitcoin and stores of ETH. I know many of them. And we're trying to bring them into the program, because they are holding ETH, let's say, for 5 years, 10 years. They don't care about the volatility. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, but it's a retirement fund. It's there. They're going to keep hold of it for a few years for the price appreciation of ETH or the price appreciation of Bitcoin. But it's just sat there in people's wallets. They don't know how to use Uniswap. They don't buy tokens, but they hold ETH, and there's millions and millions out there. So our next marketing to make the token go up, which was kind of your question about how we're going to make the token price rise. We will continue to do AMAs, and we'll do bits and pieces, but our focus over the next kind of month or two is going to be kind of moving out of DeFi and advertising into the real world, and using Sandrock, who are also developing videos for us on how to how to open up an exchange account, because I've kind of missed a step, which is you can remain the custodian of your own funds. So if you have over 25 ETH, then we can actually via API link into your own wallet or your own exchange account. So
Right, with a Web3 connection. Yeah.
yeah, so you don't even need to, if you have, you know, £500,000 worth of ETH, you kind of think, well, I don't know if I can see I can see you kind of audited, and see the company owners have got the company numbers written on the website, and I can check you out and I can do all my due diligence. But some people just won't feel comfortable sending stores of ETH to a company, particularly as many of you'll know, obviously the kind of what's happening to the VCs around the world at the moment. So
right, everything that happened. There's still a lot to
yeah.
break down there. I'm gonna let you keep going in just a second.
Yeah, well,
But
I'll loop round again, because at least it introduces a concept. So so one of the big things that we're going to be offering, what we are now, is that we're able to kind of allow the customer to remain the custodian of their funds, but we via API, or Sandrock via API, can do bot trading on your account. So we are not able to sell to remove the ETH or Bitcoin from your account. It's completely safe in your own account, but we can trade it, and we can apply our bots to it. And it's the bots that over the last 12 months have had a 69% month-on-month successful performance. So so there's a lot there to unpack, but the idea of now of how we get the token price up is going to be through advertising the token indirectly as a way of advertising the private investment service, because it's the private investment service that's really going to be the future of our program. And the sheer, if our expectations are correct on where the company's going to go, then the token will just kind of sell itself as a result of so much money kind of coming back in. I mean, at 340k market cap, there's still so much movement to be made on that token once money comes in through the other services.
right, because of those services are going right back into the token, or at least a percentage of them. So one of the things that was written in about that was brought up as a concern is that there's never been any proof of the bot trading. Do you guys plan in the future to show videos or proof of the bot trading and how they're being profitable and how that's working within the ecosystem? Not necessarily the back end stuff of how it's designed and what makes that bot a bot, right? But on the front end, that's all trackable and public on blockchain anyway. Is there any way to get proof of that? Was the specific question.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to. We have given proof in our Telegram group. So in the Adrenaline Telegram group, we haven't put it on the website. We didn't feel that was maybe prudent, but certainly within Telegram, we've showed the screenshot the trades we've made. And actually, yesterday because it's the end of our first quarter, really, it's the end of our first 3 months. So we sent a summary of the trades that we've closed and the trades that we still have open. Although that was kind of written down, but yeah, we've provided screenshots before. I mean, Sandrock is a limited company. Obviously, in crypto, we're used to kind of displaying everything front and center out for everyone, and we try and do that because we are still a crypto token. But the trading and investments work is done by Sandrock. So James, who sadly can't be here tonight, I normally try and do these AMAs with him because he's the kind of professional trader, him and his team. So, but yeah, I mean, if anyone has any doubts or questions, then of course, we're particularly in our early stages of the company, we're more than happy to be transparent about all those things. The only things we don't provide are the inner workings of the bots, because those bots are the intelligent property of Sandrock, and that
Absolutely. I don't think anybody is questioning wanting to see like how they're made or anything. They just want to see them active, right?
yeah,
And actually see that they're actually
we're actually
making
doing what we
money.
say we're doing.
They're making money and not the latter of that, not making money, right? Because we're all in it to make money. I'm assuming that's why you got into crypto. I can assure you that's why I got into crypto when crypto was a scam back when it was just Bitcoin. So,
You've been in it that long. When did you join?
In about 14 more days will be 13 years in this space.
Wow.
That is how long I've been in the space, when there was only a couple of Discord and forums that had about 200 to 500 people in there that were talking about Bitcoin. So
Wow.
I can assure you that
We'll wait for the David Hunter book to come out then.
maybe one day. But yeah, so being in the space that long, I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've had a lot of good questions come in, right? Because before all these AMAs, we always try to take some questions that people can write in.
Good. It helps.
one of the other concerns, we'll just kind of get through the concerns, and that way we can get into the real juicy part of the project and how people make money in it. One of the other concerns was the LP, right? Um, and there were several transactions where LP was removed from the contract. Can you give us a little bit of update on why that was? And there's a reason for that, right? Sometimes there's a reason to take LP out. But in this case, we were just looking for explanation of why that LP was taken out and what it was used for in the project.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I remember that happening. Was there LP taken out of my contract? I'm not. I know we put LP in because we have the way our tax works is we have three wallets that money goes into. We have a 12% in, 12% out. We have 4% goes to reflections, 4% to a liquidity wallet, and 2% for development. So in the liquidity wallet, we have a separate liquidity pool that as soon as we've bought enough tokens and we have the ETH as well as the pair, we add money to liquidity. I'm not sure I'm familiar with liquidity ever coming out of the project.
Yep. So let me just pull this up so you can actually
Yeah,
see what
please
I'm
do.
seeing here. I'm got you guys on the wrong tab here. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right one.
No, it's fine. I'm
Uh,
just seeing if I can make my screen bigger as well.
yeah, just
Oh,
give me 1 second here.
yeah.
We'll get this pulled up for you guys. Chrome tab. Which one? I believe it is this one. Let me just go in and find it, and I'll bring it up here.
Yeah, no worries. I'm still trying to make my screen bigger anyway.
You should just be able to use the toggle view. Yeah, I thought I had this stuff up. I don't know what happened, but we'll get it back up here. Just 1 second. So this is your V2 pair. Okay. I'm assuming you guys see it. Let me pop back over just to make
Got
sure.
it. Yeah.
Yep. So you'll look at the last times that LP was added, right? Or at the last transactions for LP. Um, and you can go back and look 62 days ago, 8 hours, remove liquidity, and then back on about 92 days ago, remove liquidity. And then you can see where you guys have added liquidity too. But the last time there was just liquidity removed, there was never any put back into liquidity. And
How much is that for? Can you click on it?
sure I can. So we're not talking about a lot. We're talking about like $460 worth of Ethereum back then, right? It's worth a lot more now, right? But back then it was around $460 on that particular removal of LP.
And where was it sent?
I can tell
Oh,
you.
sorry, I'm asking this because I genuinely have no answer for this. This is
That's
new to me.
okay. We usually take a deep dive, especially if these
No,
cases
no,
come
no.
up and everything. That way, if you
I,
guys don't have answers, we always invite you guys back to come back with that answer. There
I
could
would
be a legitimate reason
I
to
would
do
love
these
to
things.
answer that. I would love to answer that because I do not know the answer.
Yep. So it was removed and just sent back to the address that added the liquidity. So, and I can tell you what address that is if
Two
you'd like.
two FE5, is it? Is that what that ends with? Two FE5?
Uh,
Oh.
yep. FE5. 2 FE5. Yep.
I'm going to do something real quick and look, but
Yep. So I'll get to the LP pair so you can go.
I think I'm going to have to come back to community now. Yeah, I wondered if it was our liquidity wallet, but no, that ends in ACE, so it didn't go back into the liquidity wallet. So,
Hmm. So
I'm gonna have to pass on that. But thank you very much. I apologize for not having an answer to you, but I will
yep,
find out.
just something to go back and check on. And
Could you
like I
just
said,
send me the transaction?
yeah, there's actually several of them. So I'll send you the LP
Yeah. Okay.
pair so you
Fine.
can go through and you can actually check all these and follow them back. But that was one of the concerns that came up that you guys were removing LP, not just adding. But I can see where you guys were adding a lot of liquidity too.
Yeah,
Some of
well,
it was
it should
a
only
relaunch.
be a one-way street. There should only be adding, so that's not an excuse. Do you know what? I'm genuinely intrigued, and unless I have some 2 in the morning wake up and go, I remember now, which I'm sure I won't because I wouldn't
Sure.
know. I'm gonna have to come back to you.
Definitely, yeah. We encourage you guys to come back because even though we have concerns and people are written in about it, we want you to come back and say, "Hey, David, this is why we did it, and this is what we did with those funds, and it was to move the project forward in some kind of way, right?" And on the latter of that, if you don't come back with something for us, then I think the audience out there and the listeners out there will take that as a something. There's a red flag somewhere, right? So we
Yeah.
always try to give projects the opportunity and a fair shake to come in if there's a concern to address those. If they don't know, it doesn't mean anything. It just means they can come back and let us know. And we also put out an update after that. If there are any concerns that are addressed, then we do update those as well.
So is it those 4 on the screen, or are there more when you scroll down?
So we got 1, 2, just 4.
4. Okay. Right. I will find out and come back to you. And I'm sorry I
Perfect.
don't know the answer.
That's okay. I don't expect everybody to know it. A lot of you guys, some of you guys don't even interact with the contracts, right? Which brings us to our other part of it. Who is doing your contract? Is it somebody internally on the team? Is it somebody that's a third party? The reason I ask is because in the space, as we know, everybody always likes to blame the dev, right? The dev rugged us. Well, did the dev work for you? No, he was a third party. So do you guys have somebody internally that does all of your back end, your Solidity stuff?
So that's not our contract that you're on there. Oh, you've just moved out of it back onto it now. Yeah. Okay, that's better. That's ours. Yeah.
Yeah, I just backed out. The one I was on was your LP pair. This is your LP pair. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is Wrapped Ethereum and Adrenaline right here. This
Yeah,
is your
yeah.
LP, right?
Okay.
Currently, there's in total between the two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
39,000.
39,000, and you double it just because you're pairing it with the
Yeah,
tokens,
of
right?
course. Yeah. So it's half of what you see. Yeah, got you.
Yep. So
Um,
I'm just backing out here to look at your contract. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, so there's going back to one of my previous conversations about kind of making contacts throughout my history. So I ended up doing consultancy for about kind of 5 or 6 projects before I ended up launching my own ones, and the dev on those was the same dev, and so we employed him to create from scratch our current contract. So yeah, we hired him, and we're still in touch with him now to create Adrenaline. So yeah, our dev is very experienced, and he was hired to produce the contract we needed based on our requirements.
Sure. Now, are they also audited? Because at this point, we would still call them a third party. I'm assuming they're audited and all that stuff as well. I know you guys are done through what, Solid Proof? Is that correct for your KYC and audit?
Yeah, that's right. We're KYC and Solid Proof with KYC and audited with Solid Proof, or the contract is audited.
Right.
So that's why we had it done. So no, our dev is a private individual. He's not doxed, and he's not audited, would be the wrong word, but he's not KYC'd. We tried to, and we asked him to. I know him from many launches, and I know him as a good person. But he had a situation once going back a while where there was a problem with a launch because he was given wrong maths, and he kind of was exposed because it was the owner of the project that made a mistake and with the stuff that they gave him to do, and so he doesn't like to dox because that in this particular instance, the owner of the project tried to kind of call him out of it. It's his fault, and so he was trying to protect himself from kind of malicious project owners, and
Sure.
so he's been. So yeah, so he doesn't come out in KYC, but you know, I'm comfortable to stand in front of a camera and say that I can vouch for him.
Yep, no, that's perfect. Like I said, there's just always stuff that happens in the future, as you guys know, with projects say, "Oh, well, the dev." It's easy to blame the dev. Just in this case, like that other project I was in,
No, I'm the man in the chair that's KYC'd, so it's
so
tough at the top.
the buck stops with you then, right?
Buck stops with me.
There you go. Well, let's jump over to your contract real quick and just take a look at it. We're right now, as you can see, this is your token. We're looking at the holders. Looks like this is the V2 pair that's in Uniswap. You got a couple of fairly good size wallets here that are holding that aren't locked. You just want to kind of give us a rundown of the top 5 here.
Yeah,
Um,
certainly. So those top, well, not the top, the wallets 2 and 3 belong to me, not me personally, but those 2 wallets we can't lock, because if you lock them in Unicrypt, you cannot get reflections. And as I mentioned, we are a reflections token,
right.
and we all of our taxation except for 2% goes into either liquidity or it goes into the Adrenaline Fund, which is what we do the bot trading on, which we give out the dividends to holders. And
Sure.
so the way that our team effectively makes our money is from one of those wallets. So one of those 100 million wallets goes, we take the reflections from that. And that's so we were a fair launch. There are no dev wallets. We bought in fairly at the beginning. and we take we continue the program through the reflections we get from one wallet, and the other wallet goes into the adrenaline fund wallet, which is how the adrenaline fund also increases in its size.
Sure.
So it's a kind of well, there's potentially good news. So there's a gentleman's promise that those two wallets will never get sold. They are not there. I mean, on one of those wallets, I think we bought 3 million by the look of it, but there's supposed to be 100 million in each wallet.
There's about 103.5 in one and about
Yeah, so
100.386 the other.
I think at one point we've bought tokens, but the idea they'll never drop below 100 million because they are not there to be sold. We actually, as part of the when we kind of made the white paper and we announced that we were going to launch this investment service, we actually got the attention of Cult DAO, and Cult. We were very lucky that we were invited to Cult DAO via one of their guardians to present in front of them, and we actually got a 98% approval rating from Cult. And Cult did a 13 ETH investment. So Cult are one of those also top holders that you see there in the top 5. And Cult have actually moved their tokens to a multi-sig wallet. Now, we are quite keen to know whether they're going to get reflections at multi-sig wallet, because we were told that if we locked them, we would, or if we put them into any multi-sig or lock them, we wouldn't get reflections. And it's important to the program that we do get reflections on those two, that 20% between the two 10% wallets. If Cult report back that their holding does receive reflections in a Gnosis wallet, GNOSIS, then we're going to move also those two wallets, those 200 million wallets, we're going to move those into a multi-sig as well, which would be far my preference. It was the original intention was to lock them in Unicrypt until it was, obviously transpired that we'd lose the reflections, because the reflections would be earned, but they'd go to Unicrypt. So
Right.
So we've been searching for a while now for a secure place to put those two top wallets, and hopefully if Cult come back with a green light that they're receiving reflections successfully on them, then we will also be moving those two out of our Coinbase wallet, and we'll be putting them into a Gnosis multisig too, which I hope we can do.
Yeah, there are many ways now with smart contracts being able to do that where you still get reflections, right? So that information is kind of old technology, because there are possibilities to be able to do it nowadays. And if you guys are interested in hearing how to do that correctly, I'll be more than happy to help you guys get that
for
sorted
sure.
out.
I mean, yeah, if there's anyone, well, yeah, I mean, if you personally could, then we'd be more than happy to. Like I say, Cult have kind of assured me, but I haven't got the proof yet that wallet will receive reflections. But we actually have a Gnosis wallet already, which we set up. But as I say, we assumed, or we were told, that it wouldn't work. So I'd be very, very happy to move them out.
Oh yeah, there are a ton of ways. So bringing up Cult DAO and everything. Before I do that, I just want to jump into this. It looks like on that number 2 wallet and everything, there's quite a few transfers out to these different wallets. Are those to pay people for marketing? Are those other partners that were collecting funds?
Yeah, so we've been really lucky. That big pump we had to 2 million, that was really give us a good opportunity to send tokens out to for marketing. We actually sent a bunch of people out to pay for lawyers and to pay for, my goodness, all the fees we've had to pay out for website companies, it's just for people who have contributed to the development of the project.
Right. So those are actually coming out of those $100 million wallets, though. Is that correct?
Which one are you in right now of the two?
Yeah, this is wallet number 2. Because I know that you had said that you guys would never sell any of those below the 100 million or whatever. I was just curious because they are going to all these different wallets. A million here, a million there, and those obviously add up, right? So is the goal to continue to pay them in ETH, or to give them tokens that obviously at some point could potentially come back and be sold on the contract?
Oh, well, no. So if you're in the team wallet, which it looks like you are, then yeah. So we obviously get the reflections from the 100 million, and what we do with that more than often than not is we buy tokens. And so we've had, I think in the past, we've had probably about 120 million in that wallet at one point. And
Sure.
we end up, yeah, we just, some of them actually go to my team as just as a thank you, because none of my team kind of get paid unless the program's successful. So some of those wallets will belong to my team. Some of them will belong to people who just kind of contribute and help out. Sometimes it's members of the community that do something really cool for us. I kind of treat that wallet quite liberally. So it's there to make sure that the ether, because I guess at one point you'll see ETH out of there as well, because it does get ETH. So ETH is mainly
Yeah,
ETH.
we normally just look at just the tokens themselves
Oh,
and
I
everything,
see.
because
Right.
those are tokens that can really come back and be dumped back on the project. And that's why the concern was with it being open and them being transferred out to all these different wallets and everything.
Yeah, well,
Because
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I use that. I use that at will, really. I mean, the 100 million tokens it'll never drop below 100 million. But
gotcha.
as the team
Because
get,
you guys continue to buy with ETH, is that correct? To raise
yeah,
kind of
that's
raise
right.
the
So
price.
we'll buy. Yeah, I mean, the liquidity wallet doesn't get touched, but the team wallet. Yeah, I mean, I use it to send tokens to people that kind of contribute, people that help, people that need payment. Yeah.
Sure. Just one more thing on the wallets and contracts themselves. So one of the concerns that a lot of people bring up with projects that are holding these 10% and 10% like you guys are, and in a team wallet, is that you're getting the largest share of the reflections, right? So what I mean by that, if somebody goes and legitimately buys into your contract, and let's say they work their way up and they get, let me just go back here. We'll just look at somebody randomly here at 13.2 million, right?
Yep.
Usually those reflections are weighted based off of the amount that you hold. Like this person would hold 1.3%, right? And it's weighted. Normally, these two wallets here, if they are team wallets, would not get reflections, right? Because they're bringing in the money, and a portion of that should go directly into a marketing wallet or team wallet, so that it's not going in tokens, right? But
Yep.
you're taking the largest share of what the
That's right.
reflection is. So if there's a dollar that goes in a reflection, you're getting 20%
20%.
of it, and everybody else gets to split the rest of it.
Yeah, well, that's right, and it was done on purpose. But don't forget, there's, well, first of all, there's two separate streams of income. So the first one is reflections, and you're right that 20% of all the reflections go into those two wallets. One to feed the team, which we get paid, because as I say, none of all those wallets you see belong to members of the community. There were no dev tokens, there were no team tokens. We take the reflections, and
Right, but these would be considered team tokens because you have them at will, right? That you're giving out to team members and people in the community that are doing things. They would be still considered team or developed property of the team that can do what they want to at will, right?
Well, yeah, we won't do anything at will, because neither of those 100 million wallets will actually ever be sold. But the reflections come in as ETH, and then the ETH goes into the investment fund, which gets obviously divvied out across between the holders. So one of those wallets, the team never see the benefit of, but the one of the wallets we do, and that's how we get paid, and that's fine.
Right, but
The
you guys are getting paid in ETH, you said though, right? Because you're taking the reflections and paying out an ETH to employees. Is that correct? I just want to
that's
make sure that everybody's getting the
yeah,
right
no,
information.
no, okay, so that's right. So let's rewind to make it clear for everyone. So let's say wallet, they're both the same size, right? So let's say wallet number 2 is for the team. So on the trading volume, 4% of all the trading volume gets distributed out in Ethereum, airdropped straight to your wallet. And that 10%, so we will always, the team will, as in my employees and myself, will always get 10%
Mm-hmm.
of all of the reflection trade volume. The and that's because we're not going to be dumping tokens on you, because most of us don't own any, because we didn't get given tokens. Now I take your point, the nuance between they are our tokens, but we've promised to never sell them, so we won't be selling tokens. We take the ETH that comes in as a result of the reflection.
Right, and so you would hand out ETH to your employees, right? That was my question earlier and everything of why the transfer of all these tokens out of that project. and you had said that they went to team members. Well, obviously, team members can go and sell those tokens, even though they're only a million,
Oh, I
500.
see what you mean. Yeah, well, I mean, most of the team do get paid in ETH. So, if you, I know you want to focus on the tokens, but if I'm not suggesting do it, but if you go to ETH, you'll see that ETH gets paid out as well. And I think from time to time we've given out competitions. We've done various competitions where it's, I mean, some of these 50 days ago, I can't quite remember now, but it'll
Sure.
be, the largest buy gets 500,000 tokens, and where we get those tokens from is by buying them ourselves. So yeah, in the past we've bought a couple of million tokens here, a couple of million tokens there, and then over the period of days, whatever, we've then I've either given them out or we've done competitions. But we've kind of bought fairly into the graph with the ETH we've had from reflections, and then we've done whatever we've done with those tokens which are team owned.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had seen a couple buys and everything from that particular wallet. I mean, there wasn't a lot of them, right? So this one was, I bought like a million tokens here, but you gave out like 5 million here. This one, you can see where it came in and bought one, two, basically 3 million
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and that's just us buying in with our own money and then doing, I don't know, I'll have to drill into each example, but just doing, yeah, buying them and
Yeah,
paying
these just
out.
to be clear with you, Chris, these aren't supposed to be I gotcha moments, right? These are
Oh no,
just
no,
people.
it's fine. I'm more than I know. I actually quite enjoy the challenge on this because it's, you don't normally get it, but the underlying point is the 100 million will never be sold.
Okay,
We take ETH as ETH reflections from that 10%. The ETH reflections from that other wallet, let's say wallet number 3, that ETH goes straight into the adrenaline fund. And the ETH, what we do with the ETH that we earn is kind of down to us, but we
right,
don't use the ETH for the adrenaline fund to do our competitions, and we don't use the ETH from that goes into that other wallet to do to kind of pay suppliers or to pay the odd influencer here and there. So
right.
it kind of, yeah, so it kind of stays within the boundaries of the team and what we do with the money we earn from that 10%.
Sure.
The other thing I kind of wanted to kind of go on to say, which was an interesting point, you used kind of wallet number 11 there as an example of someone that owns 1.3%. What we do for the dividend payout at the end of the month is we use the square root function of everybody's holding. So we actually exclude ourselves, those two wallets we've been talking about, we exclude ourselves from the dividend payouts. So we only take reflections, and all of the money that we earn from all the money that's generated from the bot trading on the adrenaline fund, that
Does not
doesn't
go
go,
into those.
that does not go towards us, to those two 20% wallets. We're excluded from the bot profit. And what we do to kind of create an opportunity for new people to come into the token, fast forward in a year's time when, we'll assume that the price is much higher, and you've got, Tom that comes around with his $500 and he wants to buy some tokens. We don't want Tom feeling like he's never going to see a dividend because his percentage of the percentage supply that he owns will be too low. So what we do is we do a square root function on everybody's holding when we distribute those profits, and what that does is it levels the playing field somewhat, because if you're a bigger holder, yeah, you're going to get more ETH as a result of the dividend payout, but you're going to proportionately get more, because by square rooting everybody's holding and then paying out based on the square root figure, you're kind of leveling the distribution profile.
No, and I commend you for that. I think that's a great idea to exclude those two wallets from the bot trading. So I commend you guys.
Well, otherwise, all you're doing is feeding the largest wallet, and then
Right.
what you end up doing is killing your own token, because
Absolutely.
I'm going to just pluck figures out of the air, but let's say in the future we've got kind of 10 ETH, 20 ETH per month to kind of distribute out. If 80% of that is going to the top 10 holders or whatever, then you're kind of not incentivizing new people to come into your token. So
Absolutely.
certainly for the dividend payouts, we exclude ourselves from exclude those two wallets from the dividend payouts, and everybody else, yeah,
And
we
that's specific to the bot trading, correct?
yeah, that's specific to the bot trading. For the ETH reflections, that's all driven by the smart contract, and that's done purely by the current percentage supply of ownership.
And like I said earlier, again, these aren't supposed to be gotcha moments. We try to do a great job of getting into a deep dive with these projects.
No, you should, because there's a lot of,
We're
yeah, there's a
bringing
lot of
more
problematic
legitimacy to the
tokens.
space by giving projects like
I
yours
love it. I love
opportunity
it.
and everything. So these are just to answer those concerns. That way we can get into the good parts of the projects and everything after we kind of get the concerns out of the way. And I thank you for your time today. I know that we're getting fairly late into it. I didn't mean to keep you so long, but there was
No,
a
that's
few things
okay.
we definitely.
I normally do a good job of following the story through my project because you know, it's easy for me because I live and breathe it. But for
Right.
others, it can be quite tricky. So I hope
Sure.
people are understanding.
Yeah, we definitely want our audiences out there and everything to be able to take a great look at the project. One point that I did want to make and everything, where you started talking about Cult DAO, which I'm very familiar with. Because I know you guys originally were on the mindset of decentralization. And that's one of the reasons why Cult picked you guys up. It's because of the decentralization side of it. But
Yeah,
it sounds like the mindset and the shift has kind of changed a little bit from being completely decentralized to getting more over to like with Sandrock and doing the KYCs and all that, which kind of brings you out of the aspect of being a decentralized ecosystem and more mainstream and more centralized. Is that fair to say?
it's really fair, and it's a delicate balance because on one hand we are lowering the barrier of entry to kind of sophisticated investment vehicles because
Sure.
not everyone's got 100 200k to put into, you know, a Swiss bank account to get what is potentially a modest 15% a year. um, so we're really lowering the bar and giving, you know, someone that's brand new to crypto the ability to get, you know, I want to be careful kind of stating figures, but based on past performance, you know, upward of 50% on their holding per year. um, but you know, also combining a decentralized project with a traditional finance company also provides a little bit more comfort and gravitas to the whole program, because when you're you know, a limited company that are partnered with us, that are also together with us KYC'd on the website with solid proof, it just, you know, particularly in a space which is so scammy, um, it's really good for people to see that, you know, you've got a proper token that's decentralized, that's trying to allow anyone to have access to high yield, you know, not high as in you're going to be driving a Ferrari in a month. You know, we're not, you know, as a friend of mine who joined a project which was giving, was it 10% a day interest or something, and sure enough, 5 months later they closed the project down, they rugged millions. And you kind of think, well, it's kind of obvious it was a rug, it was going to rug at one point because no one could sustain huge daily interest rates like they were. But you know, you know, what we're trying to do is show that we're here for a long time. We've got a proper financial company that are backing us and they're behind us, and you can see them, you can breathe them, you can see them on Companies House website.
Sure.
But you know, at the
And
same
that is
time,
Sandrock, correct? That you
yeah,
were.
that's Sandrock Capital. But at the same time, you've got a project which is got a lot of manual at the moment. We've got a lot of manual processes, not obviously for the token, because the token's obviously there and it's managed by the smart contract. But this private investment service we've got, there's a lot of manual processes behind it. And I know we haven't touched on that, but there's kind of two routes into it. The first route is, and you can go to adrenalineshots.io. And there's a page on our website dedicated to this whole program, and the entry point is just to fill in a real quick web form, and that's the entry into our machine, where we'll then get back in touch with you and we'll talk you through the two approaches, which is you either send the money to our corporate account, or if it's over 25 ETH or 1 Bitcoin, we can, via API, as I mentioned before, link into your own exchange. And if you don't have an exchange, then we're able to, via or Sandrock have got videos, and they're able to help you and guide you on how to set up your own exchange. So Kraken, Coinbase Pro, you know, Binance, and provide customers with that kind of 100% level of safety, because the funds stay in your own account. And that's going to be a huge thing for us as we move forward. And once our press release goes out and we try to attract the kind of wider than DeFi audience, which is where we're going to be going with the company, it's really important for us to be able to provide that service where, you know, a customer can see their money in their own account and they don't actually have to physically send it anywhere. So yeah, this is the entry portal that you're looking at now. It's very it's very manual, as I say. But we're in talks with Chainlink at the moment. We're in talks with a couple of other groups to, in the longer term, look to how we can kind of automate some of the kind of sign up process and the whole kind of obviously if it's us linking via API, it's going to remain probably how it is for some time. But certainly the process of a customer who's got 2 ETH that wants to, and we've got loads of them already that just kind of say, here's the wallet you have to send your money to, do a quick test transfer. We send the transaction back, say, yes, we've received your test transfer. And then, they'll send their 2 ETH. And then at the end of every month, we'll provide a statement on performance, just like any normal investment house.
Right, 'cause I'm assuming on that sending a statement, 'cause I'm assuming they had the KYC with the form and all that stuff of an email
Yeah,
address and all that.
there's a KYC process. Yeah, because we have to we kind of treat, it's kind of regulated, so we go through full compliance, and that's how we mean to go forward. So the customer will go through KYC, and then we will invest in the same way we already invest the adrenaline fund. We'll have a various number of bots that we will have a varied risk strategy on. So for those of you that don't know much about bot trading, the idea is that Sandrock won't just instantly go and throw your money straight into trades. It will be, the way Sandrock operate is they'll look at two. A bot has to work off a pair. So if you take a real kind of safe pair, like say ETH and Bitcoin. So if you give us 2 ETH, we'll sell a bit of that ETH and we'll buy some Bitcoin, and then we'll put a bot on that pair of ETH versus Bitcoin, and the bots will make minute little trades between the two and generate minute little profits. But it happens 24/7, and there's no emotion involved. There's no human interaction. The only human interaction that's required is for the investors at Sandrock to make the decision on what bot they put on, what pair. So it could be, if they want to put like 5% of the portfolio on something quite risky, let's say they'll do Litecoin or Ape versus Solana or whatever. That's that kind of their job, to kind of buy low and sell high.
Right.
So they'll look at trades which are low, but the companies are solid, and it's got potential for uplift. So and they'll make those trade decisions. And then they'll put the bot on, and the bots will work for 14 days, or they'll for whatever period of time until the bots fall out of range, or we stop them ourselves. And then at the end of the month, we hopefully come back and we say, right, David, you gave us 2 ETH. You now have 2.2 ETH or whatever in your account.
Right.
And then we say, and you can take your money out at any point. There's no lock-in period. All we ask for is maybe 3 to 5 days in case we need to close a bot to take your money out. But it can kind of happen whenever you like. There's no real kind of lock-in period. And then we take 25% commission on the profit that's made at the end of it's quarterly, at the end of the quarter.
Right. So I do have a question on that. So let's say I want to throw in 2 ETH and say, here you go, Kris, put my money to work for me. I want to make a ton of money, right, over the next year, right? Do I have the ability to come in and say, okay, this is kind of my portfolio. I got, a couple ETH here, and I would rather have low risk, and obviously that comes with low rewards, or I'm willing to gamble on it. We want to go high risk, baby. Is there any leverage trading in that with these bots, or is it just straight trading across the board? So do I have the ability, because obviously I am not in control of what you guys are doing bot trading on, right? And there's always a potential to lose as well, right?
Yes, there is. So I can hopefully quite quickly answer all those. First of all, no, there's no leverage trading. We don't do that. So the when we originally were going to launch it, we were going to have a high, medium, and low risk kind of pot, like 3 different pools, and you could kind of choose. But actually, the overall strategy that we're taking forward with the fund is low risk. So we don't really give anyone a choice. Now, it's interesting when you step back and I say low risk. Now, of course, I've already explained that we're going to be, as we move the program forward in the company, we're going to be focusing more on the outside world than inside the DeFi space. So to a person with, let's say, $200,000 and to invest, and they may have 10% of their portfolio in crypto. So they'll have, say, 20K that they put into crypto, and they'll hold ETH with that 20,000. Now, as far as they're concerned, for their overall $200,000 portfolio of investments that's their retirement for their kids or their wife, they will see ETH as high risk or Bitcoin as high risk. Forget your Ape and your Litecoin. To them, it's high risk. Now, to us, in the world that we live in, ETH and Bitcoin are kind of low risk investments. They're the top blue chip, top 2 kind of coins.
Right. Actually, my stocks right now are my high risk compared to crypto holdings.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on the month and the time of year, I suppose. But but yeah, certainly, I think it's probably fair to say that for most people who are maybe new to crypto, they kind of feel like dipping their toe in. They're not really sure. I think most people would consider crypto, particularly with a lot of the news that's still prevalent, is crypto's high risk. So we take a lower strategy, and the reason why we started with low risk is because as we're going slowly. We could go explosive. We could have already gone out to the world and his dog and said, kind of, we're here. We're kind of going to get you signed up as quick as we can. We're going to take your money as quick as we can. But that's how scams happen. That's how people lose money. So we've been purposely
Right.
slow, and we've been
Also, when you grow
purposely
too
careful.
fast. So I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine that, because I think it's within the realms of our possibility that we could get to 1 million very easily. But if we're suddenly dealing with $1 million trades, or $100,000 trades for a single bot, for example, then you have to be you're gonna be very careful. You're not going to put all that money to work straight away. I'm kind of talking on behalf of Sandrock, and if James is here, he'd probably be a lot more articulate. But the whole point is that we'll have a portion where we'll always put on some kind of higher risk stuff, but that will be based on the kind of researching, back testing, and that's the thought process that we're going with.
Sure.
And in future, as we automate, because the more complex we make it and the more optionality we add in there, the more margin for error there might be. So to start with, it's going to be safe, it's going to be simple, it's going to be
Right.
straightforward. The majority of the bots might be on things like ETH and Bitcoin, because you want to own ETH and you want to own Bitcoin. So
Right.
regardless of what happens, the bot's going to earn you money, and you're earning two really valuable currencies. So that's definitely the approach we're taking to start with. But over time, yes, there will be pots in there. Now, the only slight change to that is if you're a customer with over 25 ETH or 1 Bitcoin, and we're linking into your account via API. Now, of course, that's your individual fund. Now, in that scenario, you could come up to me and say, Kris, I want ludicrous mode investing, and I would like XYZ things, and we can cater for that because we are doing it to your account, and you're the only one with money in that account. So
Right. So in the long term, you would say that that will be a possibility to go. I just want to be safe. I don't want to gamble, but I still want to make returns. And you can have the guy that wants to go ludicrous and wants to do that high risk, high reward, and it's his money, and it's a trading bots that are set up specific to that account. Is
yeah,
that correct?
absolutely. We have one customer at the moment who's got 100,000, and he would like to do via API. So I'm teaching him, or showing him, as I know him kind of personally, so it can be done kind of more kind of personal way, but showing him how he can create his own Binance account right now, so we can plug in via API. And he's kind of saying, I just want ETH and Bitcoin. And I'm saying, well, okay, well, the way the bots work is that there'll be less return on that. And he said, that's fine, because I want to keep my ETH for 5 years. It's a 5-year plan. I don't care about the volatility. I'm going to do it for 5 years. So I just want ETH and Bitcoin. And if it only makes me, I'm kind of careful with figures, but the last 12 months of bot trading for Sandrock has been 69% in the year, the last 12 months. If you did ETH and Bitcoin, it might be 15%, 10%, whatever it is. But he's cool with that, because otherwise it would only just be sat there anyway, earning zero interest. So for him, he wants to own both. It's a can't lose kind of scenario, effectively. So yeah, we'll introduce all these kind of things as time goes on.
So
And so, oh, sorry.
yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. So with the partnership you guys have with Samrock, is there a benefit to going through Adrenaline to get introduced to Sandrock? Or I'm assuming that somebody could technically go straight to Sandrock and set this up as well, or do you have to go through a provider like you guys to get entry into Sandrock?
No, Sandrock and I are exclusive. So if you went to Sandrock, then they would say Adrenaline is our vehicle for your crypto investment.
So basically, you're the gatekeepers to everything. Is that a good way to look at it?
Yeah, as far as Sandrock are concerned, there are other companies I guess you could find and go to, but as far as Sandrock is concerned, yeah,
Yeah, I
yes,
mean Sandrock specifically because that's who your partner is. So there is no bypassing you guys to get into Sandrock. You
correct.
have to go through you guys, and you are basically the one licensee that Sandrock has gone with exclusively, and the only entry is through Adrenaline Token.
That's it. You got it.
Perfect. So we're getting kind of stressed on time and everything. I appreciate you coming on here, answering all these tough questions and everything, because we do like to take these deep dives. I do encourage you to bring the stuff back about the LP. I do want to give you
Yes, I'm keen to do that too.
I do want to give you the last word for all of our audiences that are out there listening, for all the people that will view this in the future. We want to give you the last word. Tell us what Adrenaline's all about, what you want people to know in a short, 2 minutes here. What do you want them to hear for the very last words of this podcast?
Well, I guess if I was to only have one final parting goodbye, I think I would say there's a lot of money to be made in crypto. I want everyone to stay safe, and I want them to be very careful what they invest in. It's hard when you see projects moon, and there's always the temptation, as I have done, to get into projects and potentially lose a lot of money. We've had lots of people who've already bought Adrenaline Token, and we've seen them leave to buy, because we're a long hold effectively, and that we've seen them leave to buy some new shiny thing, and the new shiny thing is dumped, and they've lost their adrenaline, and they've lost their money. So I just want everyone to really think about a change in mind shift. And we talked about diverse portfolios earlier on. Please diversify your portfolio. I'm not telling you to put your money into my scheme, but please be very careful about where you put all your money in the future. And think long term, not short term. You think about how fast the last year has gone, and the power of compound interest, because I talk about 69%. Please be careful with your money. Please think long term as well as short term, and consider some of these new programs like Adrenaline as a long term store for your wealth, because you don't get bitten by the short term temptation. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you again, Chris, for coming on. Guys, make sure you go check them out at adrenalineshots.io. We'll also put all their links and everything right under this video when we get it posted. This is shared on Blockstar, YouTube, over on our Telegram announcement channel. I'm guessing Chris and those guys over at Adrenaline will also be sharing this, and then you can catch us on Spotify and Anchor as well. Thank you guys for joining us today for an AMA with Adrenaline and Kris Duffy from their team, and we'll see you guys on another AMA on Blockstar.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for listening.